Hey, how's it going, guys? It's your boy Blu-rayDave back with another video. And if you guys saw my um, first 5 years as an adult video, I mentioned, um, you know, every year as I'm getting older, like I start to form these serious opinions about the MCU. And I've also mentioned, like, yes, there are lots of videos on YouTube that's, including this one, that people are talking about the MCU. Like, is it okay to be honest now? Like, actually talk about the MCU, like, after the Infinity Saga. So, this is my version of this. And don't worry, I'm not copying anybody else's. And the only one I saw was this one dude was being really harsh about it. Like, gosh. I do not recommend watching that video. If there's other videos that are more nicer, I guess, just watch those. Um, so yeah, it's been 4 years since we got the last three films to end the Infinity Saga: Captain Marvel, Avengers: Endgame, and Spider-Man: Far From Home. And like I've mentioned in that other video that I just referenced, uh, those three films pretty much represent mediocrity, right? Because, with Captain Marvel, it's a very divisive film. Avengers Endgame, like, I find it to be a decent movie now. Like, back then, that used to be my all time favorite Avengers movie, and I guess my all time favorite Marvel movie in general. And with Spider Man Far From Home, a year later, I found it to be a decent film. So, yeah. And like I said, I'm just happy that Marvel took a year off after the Infinity Saga. Like it was definitely the perfect time to like just die down. And again, let Star Wars take over, because Disney Star Wars was going to be pretty much the new Marvel, and it kind of is now, guys. Um, but ever since like we started the multiverse saga, with Black Widow, that's when more of the mediocrity started to come in effect. Like, Black Widow was such a wasted opportunity of a movie that we should have gotten her origin story. It was supposed to be rated R. Like, man. Yeah, Phase 4 did not start off so great. And again, I've preached this many, many times on the channel too. Just because Phase 4 sucked, that doesn't mean there weren't some good like projects that came out of it. Falcon the Winter Soldier, Spider-Man No Way Home, What If? You know, I can name a few of these projects in Phase 4 that are good, but like, um, we're not gonna dive deep into that. But as far as the Infinity Saga goes, like the Infinity Saga will always be a classic no matter what. Because seriously, guys, me and my brother talk about the MCU all the time. Like, yes, the MCU is very divisive. Everyone can agree on that. And whenever we talk about the MCU, we always go back talking about the first six films that started all. Like, man, like look how far we've come. Like, yeah, these first six films. Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, The First Avenger, Marvel's The Avengers. Like, every time I heard that Incredible Hulk, Thor, and The First Avenger did not do on the box office when Phase 1 was starting, like, come on. They're pretty good films. And yes, granted, Phase 1 was pretty much a rocky start because, people in general didn't know what the MCU was back in the day until like the Avengers, like they kind of pretty much like kicked it off, right? Like, everyone knows, right? And Phase 2 was I guess I should say mixed. Let's put it that way, right? Yeah, Phase 2. Um, Iron Man 3 will always be my all-time favorite Iron Man film. And I'm happy to hear that people are appreciating Thor: The Dark World now. Like, see, what have I been telling you guys? It's a good film. Like, if you heard another recent report that's been going on for a while, and it's no surprise to me, Taika Waititi has finally admitted about coming into the Thor franchise, like starting with Ragnarok. Like, obviously he knew nothing about like the comics and all that, and he was just doing it to like make money. Like, I mean, yes, it's one thing to like, find a job and make a lot of money and to support your family. I get that, and Ragnarok is my brother's like all-time favorite MCU film, and I remember when he shared this news with me, which by the way I found out about this first when he shared it with me. He was just telling me about like, oh man, Ragnarok was such a good film and all that. Like, oh man, guys, Ragnarok may have been good at the time when it came out, but like, if you guys stuck around on James's Universe's channel before he deleted his stuff, he made an MCU, not ranking video, but just like he went through the movies in order. He talked about Ragnarok, and he made a lot of good valid points about Ragnarok. Like, yes, Thor is supposed to be this humbled character, right? And yes, he still has flaws. But Ragnarok turned everything into a joke. But, Love and Thunder, at least it made Ragnarok look better. Just because, like, Taika made it worse. He even admitted, like he didn't really much care about, the last two Thor films we got. Like, okay, if you're not happy with it, then why would you make it? So, I'm hearing with Thor 5 reports that this one will be much darker, like good. We're going back to basics, but more like on a darker level. That's gonna be pretty fun. Like, I'm pretty sure we are gonna go back to that Hercules arc. Yeah. Also, this movie counts as an MCU movie now, guys. I don't care what anybody else says. It's Big Hero 6. I added in Phase 2 because Kevin Feige said he wants to work with Big Hero 6, like putting them in live action. Like, that'd be pretty cool. Like, bring them in for Secret Wars. That'd be pretty cool. And honestly, the best two films that you got in Phase 2 are Captain America: The Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy, because 2014 was a huge / new ball game for Marvel. Like, everyone was doubting Winter Soldier because the Russo brothers, they're pretty much known for comedy, but they're like, shut up, haters. We can make a dark and serious film with Captain America. And even Guardians of the Galaxy was supposed to be a flop because everyone had no idea who the Guardians were. I remember like watching the trailers, and I thought this is going to be a pretty cool / funny movie. And even Kevin Feige and the people at Marvel knew it was going to be a big hit. So remember, put your money where your mouth is, people. You can doubt movies like Eternals, that I can understand. But yeah. And of course, we got the bigger phase of Phase 3. Um, Also, guys, you had the ABC shows and the Netflix shows to consider with the MCU before the Disney Plus stuff started kicking in. Like, basically those shows were like just good basic TV, right? Like, man. So you have to be out of your freaking mind if you think Jessica Jones is the better all-time Netflix show. Like, no, it's not. That's a show that's for feminists, SJWs, all that crap, We don't know who the real contender is, like the real winner is Marvel's Daredevil. Yep, that show started all with the Netflix series, and um, it still remains the number one Netflix show to this day. Yeah. Again, with Phase 3, you got like 11 films. You got Captain America Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Ant-Man the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Avengers, Infinity War and Endgame, and Spider-Man Far From Home. Oh, man. Spider-Man was such a huge deal in the MCU. Well, he still is today. When he made his first debut in Civil War, anything is possible now, right? And to me, Homecoming will always be a classic Spider-Man movie. Because that was a film that helped me out through my high school days. And, Spider-Man has always been a big inspiration, And like I said about Far From Home so many times, I'm sure when I get older in the years to come, like I'm sure I'll appreciate that film more, right? And I remembered Civil War. I would not stop talking about just because it was the biggest movie of 2016, right? And Infinity War will always be my favorite Avengers film. At least, as of the recording of this video, it'll still be my favorite Avengers film coming up with the years of the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, right? Yeah, that's just a better film than Endgame, honestly. Like, it's pure perfection. Of course, I like doing a marathon if I have a day off. Like, I would do a marathon of both Infinity War and Endgame because, it's a two-parter, of course. Okay. Phase 4, of course. Like I said, the only good movie we have in this is No Way Home. Seriously, guys, go watch the extended cut. It is definitely worth the watch. It fills in a lot of those blanks from the theatrical cut. And the post-credit scene is much better than what we got in the original one. Like, they show the Multiverse of Madness trailer at the very end. Like, no. Like I said, Phase 4 was pretty much a mess. Not a great start for the Multiverse saga. WandaVision, though, was pretty good. Like, what a great way to start it off. And Loki Season 1 was not that great. I can tell you right now, guys, that it's just not a good season. Only the second season is good. And I feel like that show has to be the new Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for the MCU because Loki would have to fill more of the blanks, right? And acknowledge the movies, of course. I like the idea that in this multiverse saga, they bring up incursions, right? Like multiple Earths, if they come in contact with one another, they could like turn into one Earth, like pretty much like Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is Marvel's Crisis on Infinite Earths, guys. Um, and of course, you got like variants who are doppelgangers, which I find variants a better word for it because, again, CW's The Flash pretty much brought that concept to light and made it popular. And since then, the whole multiverse concept for every franchise now has been pretty big. I don't understand why people in general are making fun of the whole multiverse concept. Like, guys, again, anything is possible. There are infinite Earths, Like, let's see, who did this first? Okay, well, another example that I should bring up, like, for the multiverse concept was Ninjago, right? Season 5, they introduced the Realm Crystal and their infinite Earths, right? And unfortunately, one of those infinite Earths is Chima. And I'm happy to see that Chima is, no longer around, no longer popular, no longer relevant. Because honestly, it never was. I was this close to getting into it, but like, it is just not for me. So I don't know why Ninjago and Chima needed to cross over, but it was just for a little bit. Again, that's another one of those examples of the multiverse concept. Yeah, it's just there's so many mediocre movies in Disney Plus series. I'm happy that this year with Phase 5 that we start with the slow start. Again, I am never going to understand. I will make a separate video on this soon when I can. I will never understand why people hate Quantum Mania. If you guys don't like change, then you're not a fan. Again, it's one thing to hate on Love and Thunder, but Quantum Mania, are you kidding me? I've always wanted the Ant-Man movies to take a step even further, and for them to up the budgets, right? So you guys can't be upset about that. But I will say, the only Disney film that made profit this year was Guardians 3. Because, James Gunn made a comeback, and that film was just perfect. And I love all the dark directions that it took. And yes, I am happy for the more mature content that's coming to the MCU. We got Marvel Spotlight, like, that's gonna have mature content, and I believe, Marvel Zombies is gonna fall into that category. Can't wait for Echo to come out next month. Like, honestly, I hope it's gonna be a good show. Yeah. Remember, guys, Spotlight is taking over from Marvel Presentations because Marvel Presentations was just gonna be like one-off, kind of like feature film specials, like you got Werewolf by Night and the Guardians Holiday Special. But that's it. That's it for Marvel Presentations because again, Spotlight is taking over, right? So that's gonna be pretty cool though. Like even Daredevil Born Again is gonna be part of that slot too. I am happy that the Incredible Hulk is on Disney Plus, but here's the problem. And I should have been more afraid about this when Disney put it on there. They pretty much kind of like, I guess, Disney-fied it, right? Especially like when they did different sound mixings. Like, oh my gosh, like, what was wrong with it originally? Just leave it alone. Like, there were rumors that they were gonna make a special edition of that movie, like, just like reshot the scenes of Bruce Banner with Mark Ruffalo. Like, no, Edward Norton will always be my Hulk, for sure. Just because that film was such a better film. It took a lot of risks too, and you know before Disney acquired the rights back for Hulk, um, even though Hulk was one of the main Avengers, they pretty much treated him like a side character, like he didn't have like a bigger role, because um, when Disney Universal came to an agreement to use Hulk for the MCU films, like, oh my gosh. And I honestly thought that the She-Hulk series would fix a lot of things, but unfortunately it didn't. And with Captain America 4, how much Hulk could have Disney used? They had General Ross, Betty Ross, the leader. Who else did they bring in? I guess they were gonna bring in Bruce, right? And Scar. Like, okay, this is pretty much Incredible Hulk too. So I'm honestly happy to hear that they're doing reshoots for Cap 4. Because I've heard that, like, with the screen, like uh, not practice, but like screen testings for this didn't go so well. So like, okay, with Bob Iger back in the picture, like, yeah, he's gonna change a lot of things again. Um, Again, like, because of the MCU where it was, um, it was all Bob Iger. Like, he knew what he was doing with the MCU. Um, he helped out Kevin Feige in the studio to bring it where it is today. Again, there's a lot of rumors and reports right now that Kevin Feige could step down from being pretty much like the big main guy of the I guess Marvel in general, and take over Lucasfilm, or like maybe take over the Disney company. Like, no, that's too big of a job for him to do. And like, as far as Lucasfilm, I mean, we'll see. It depends. Like, we got another 5 years. Like, they're saying, like, oh, after Secret Wars, like, he's gonna like step down. Like, again, we'll have to wait and see. We have another 5 years. But yeah, just the MCU as a whole. Yeah, like I said, it's pretty divisive now, but there was a lot of good movies that came out of it, because again, it was mostly from the Infinity Saga. Um, I have not seen the Marvels yet, but I know I will buy the Blu-ray in the future. I know it's failed its third box office opening weekend. So I know my sister wants to see it too. So I told her, like, when I will get the Blu-ray eventually, her and I will watch together. Um, I don't care for spoilers at this point, because even like the biggest spoiler for this one, like, if you guys don't care for spoilers anyway, I'm gonna say it. Um, the Fox version of Beast is back. Um, but I have noticed they have CG'd his face. Like, oh my gosh, they made him more accurate to the animated 90s X-Men series, which that's a series I still gotta finish. Um, yeah. So, Deadpool 3, that's gonna be the only MCU movie we'll get for next year, but like, you could tell it's pretty much gonna save the MCU now, because like, I'm just happy that I'm investing in a Deadpool movie that's gonna be in the MCU, and my boy Hugh Jackman is coming back. Um, sometimes I like to do an X-Men marathon. This does not include the Deadpool movies because they don't really count. But like, oh man. So like, I mean, which timeline they're gonna pull Logan out for Deadpool 3? Like maybe after Days of Future Past, or who knows? But yes, like guys, it is okay to talk about the MCU now because back when it was like big, like honestly, you couldn't really talk anything bad about it. I liked how we got maybe at least 3 to 4 films a year. My blood. I was just about to finish this video up. Enjoy my buddy's furry legs here, yeah. Furry legs. But yeah, yes, again, it's okay to talk about the MCU now. Honestly, don't be afraid to share your opinions about the MCU and the like, because we've let the dust settle, and the MCU is still gonna have its ups and downs. I mean, like the more pivotal films we should be, focusing about that's leading up to King Dynasty Secret Wars. Like again, Deadpool 3 is one of them. Marvel Spider-Man 4, the new Fantastic Four. What else? I saw an Instagram post relating to this. Like, there's another film that. Okay. Shang-Chi 2. That's right. They said Shang-Chi 2. Yeah, I definitely like the first film for sure, so I can't wait for the second one. They really got to reintroduce the Iron Fist in that one. That'd be a wasted opportunity. I'm not sure what Doctor Strange 3 is going to involve with. I mean, sure with the multiverse, but like how big of a movie is it going to be? And will Sam Raimi come back to direct it? Seriously, the original trilogy of Spider-Man will be better films than Multiverse of Madness. No disrespect to Sam Raimi. It's just like, there's so much he could do behind the scenes. Disney being Disney, they were being control freaks and, forcing him to make these scenes and all that. Like, oh my gosh. The man should not have to go through that much pressure. Alright guys, this is pretty much the end of this video. Like I said, this is my version / my opinions of the MCU. And like I said, like as an adult now, like, my opinions change about it. Like, even as a kid when I was getting into the MCU, I knew that every film wasn't a straight out of 10 out of 10, right? And I don't watch the MCU a lot more as I did as a kid. Like, but of course, when I go back to like the Infinity Saga films, like it feels so good to like get that, like that energy back. Like, oh man, being a teenager watching those films and like being caught up with the MCU. I am still caught up. But it's not a once a year thing with the MCU movies. Like maybe a couple times a year now. It's just of course there's other franchises that I'm more focused on too. So and of course No Way Home. I watch that one all the time too. Like the extended cut, of course. Sony, please release a Blu-ray copy of it, okay? I would love to get my hands on one. Alright. Again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for May the Lord be with you guys. Always love you guys. Peace out, guys. And again, just don't be afraid to express your opinions about the MCU, okay? No one's going to get upset. We will understand where you're coming from, right? Because we come from that, too. Alright. Thanks again for watching, guys. Goodbye, guys.